Welcome back to the Lovin Dubai show. Now, in honor of Autism Awareness Month, we are joined by a mother to two autistic twin boys who's made it her mission to spread awareness and educate the people of Dubai. Welcome to the show, Ambreen, Suhaib. Good morning.
Thank
morning.
you so much. Good morning.
Thanks
Thank
for being
you.
here.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
It's
It's a
pleasure's
pleasure.
all ours.
You guys are full of energy. I need to know how. How do you guys do that?
I was just going to say, you walked in with such amazing vibes and a smell that really just, filled
Took over
the
the
studio.
room.
Just a beautiful scent.
Thank you. Thank you.
So can you start off by telling us more about you and what you do?
I am a mother to twin boys on the autism spectrum. I have three boys. My set of twins is my eldest. They're 9, almost 9. I'm a housewife. I have my majors in international relations. I wanted to continue working in that field, but life had other plans. So right now I'm a full-time housewife, and due to my twins, I jumped in to advocacy because I think it was required. So right now I'm an advocate and I write for autism awareness and mainly about acceptance. Yeah.
So, how do you explain autism to someone who is not really aware about it?
Autism basically, medically, if I tell you, it's a neurological condition. The brain is, in easy words, if I say it's wired differently, it's made differently, and autism is basically a neurological. There's a big debate on it if you call it a condition or a disability, but I call it a disorder, a condition that you live with that has no cure. And autism comes with a lot of challenges throughout the life. Children who have autism, they cannot communicate properly. They struggle with socializing. They struggle with speech. They struggle with almost everything. It affects all the parts of your life. But autism is like, I'd say, the most challenging thing that I have seen so far in my life. Like, there are disabilities, but autism is, I think it impacts you like real bad. And with my twins, since autism is a spectrum, it's called autism spectrum disorder. So some of the autistic kids or people on the spectrum, they're mild, some are moderate, some are severe. So, and each autistic child, the most beautiful thing about autism is each autistic person is different from the other one. So if you meet one person on the autism spectrum, you meet one person on the autism spectrum. Like, I have twins, but they're entirely different. And it varies. There are people who are painters, who are artists, who are, who are doing things because they are, as you call, high functioning. They're Asperger's, and they are doing a lot. They're self-advocating themselves as well. But why I wanted to talk more about it because I represent the community of mothers and families who have kids who are moderate to severe, who cannot speak, who are nonverbal, who are struggling with behaviors, because it comes with a lot of self-hitting behaviors. Everything is like connected. Like, if I specifically talk about my twins, there's a lot of behaviors because they cannot speak. They cannot speak because the brain is, it's different. But again, I don't want to, talk more sad and negative about it. I just want to tell the people that autism is, they are made differently and they perceive the world differently. The way my twins feel the breeze, it's like it's a vision, and the way they will enjoy any fountain or any music, it's like they are in their own mood. Like, and I love it. This is what I'm trying to spread to the world, that they perceive the world differently and they are made differently. One thing that needs to stand above all is that autism has no cure. So stop running after cures. It's a condition that you will live with all your life. But sadly, whenever there is a thing on internet that, we have found a cure for autism, internet is full of it. Parents just go mad. Please just believe in one thing, that autism is a condition you live with and autism has no cure.
What are some of the other misconceptions people would have?
That all the autistic kids have some talent or superpower. No, they don't. This is the biggest thing. This is, I hear everywhere. So what's their talent? I'm like, none, right now, none. Like, as I already said, that autism is a very broad spectrum. So kids have talent. Lately, I attended an event. I'm sure you guys know about Abdullah Lutfi. He's a doodle artist. He's autistic. He's Dubai based. He's Emirati.
yeah.
So I saw him talking, and he has a personality, and he's amazing at what he does. But all the autistic kids are not like that. And the second biggest myth is it's caused by vaccines. No, it's not. And the third is I gave too much screen time to my kids, so it caused autism. I think this is the biggest misconception that I've listened to, I've read everywhere. Moms dying in this guilt. I gave him so much screen time, it caused autism. No, I think it's by birth. Do your studies when your child gets diagnosed. I didn't know about autism until my twins got diagnosed. But then after getting out of depression, because it was 2 and it was a big blow for me, I started reading about it. The more you read about it, the more you become aware. And everything starts when you accept it and you actually accept it. Okay, my child is different, because there's a lot of stigma attached around with autism. Like, I know the feeling, many parents get really emotional. I used to as well. But accepting that your child is going to be an additional needs child all his life, and maybe you have to be a parent until you die. It's, when my kids are high on behavior, it's like I'm walking on eggshells. It's so difficult, but I have to keep my calm. It's like parenting forever. They're 9, but they're 3, basically 3 and 2.5 by brain. So it's difficult, but it's just that people say that I have accepted it, but actually, they still haven't. Inside, they will fall for any cure, any news that comes up with a cure, they'll run for it. And I get it, because you're a parent, you love your child. I mean, I was really excited because since I got married, I wanted to have twins. I was like, I want to have twins. I used to tell my parents, please pray, I want twins. And when I was told that they're twins, I was over the moon. Because my husband, he talks very less, and I used to be like, I'll have 2 babies and they'll be talking and we'll be a team, and I was really excited. But when I got the diagnosis, it was very difficult. Having multiples with a condition, it's one kind of a struggle. But again, they are the struggle, but they are the source of power as well. 6 months I was into depression. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to talk about it. But after 6 months, there was something inside me which told me, that you need to get up for them, if not for yourself. And that is where I stood up and I was like, okay, the problem God has given me, fine. Let's do what I can do to help them, because, I am going to be their voice. I'm going to be the leading light of their life, because their diagnosis is like, moderate to severe, and maybe needing help throughout life. So until I'm alive, I'll keep doing it. And I met a mother when I got the diagnosis, and I was crying because I remember I cried rivers in the clinic, and she was sitting and she came and she hugged me and she was like, I have one son on the spectrum. And she talked to me, she calmed me down, and I wiped my tears and I was like, how are you so strong? She said, after a few years, you are going to be sitting at my place and calming another mother. And I was like, that's not going to happen. And this is what I do now. I tell mothers that it's okay. It has happened. It's not like you don't need to get stuck with, oh my God, my child is autistic. You need to move on, because time is moving really fast. This is what I have been telling parents. I've been talking about this everywhere, that you don't need to become paranoid with the cure and, accept my child, inclusion, blah, blah, blah. Talk about it, but don't become obsessed with it. Enjoy your children as well. There's a lot of talk about, gluten-free diets, don't give them sugar. But I agree, but I do give them ice cream because they are kids. Like, they love ice cream. And there's this friend of mine, she's like, oh, you're crazy, it's going to make them happy. I was like, they're not going to be children forever. I don't want them to lose that, the charm of childhood. Yeah. I don't care. There are days I'm like, I just want them to be. So don't become obsessed, paranoid with this thing that, oh my God, GFC have died, and etc., etc. Enjoy your kids, because, they're not going to be kids forever. And when they grow up, it's another struggle. I don't want to even think about it right now. But I love my kids. I enjoy every bit of moment with them. My children, they stim. And when they're happy, they'll be clapping and, they'll be stimming. They're making loud sounds. Initially, I used to get really concerned, because this is the thing. You have a child who's different and he's doing something that's really funny to people and it's really awkward. So people will, you know, they look back, they'll stare that, oh my God. Initially, I used to get really concerned and, you know, I used to leave the place. But eventually I learned that, you know, this is how they are and I can't make them a prisoner at home. So I take them out everywhere. You might find us somewhere, so just be cool with it. Because he's clapping and he's stimming like Tarzan, he's tapping his chest. I was at a supermarket and the other day, he was so loud. Everybody was like trying to locate where the voice is coming from. And some people, they keep staring, which is fine. Okay, my son is different. But now I'm at that point in my journey that, you know, if somebody is staring, I'm like, he's autistic, he's autism. So, you know, I just make them a little conscious as well.
Yeah.
But as a mother to multiples with a condition, I just tell this to all the mothers, you need to talk about it. If you want the society to be aware and accept them, come out, talk about kids, talk about your child's condition, and then leave it up to them. But you have this liability on your shoulders that you need to talk about it. My husband still is very uncomfortable talking about it publicly, but this is what I tell him, and why not? I mean, on one hand, you're like, the society doesn't accept my kids and, you know, etc., etc. But what part are you playing as a parent of that child? Like, there are many self-advocates for autism as well who are verbal and they're talking about it. But then there are kids like mine who cannot speak, who cannot, right now they cannot self-advocate. So I will do it for them because as a mother, I think it's my job.
When you say speak about it, where can we speak? Are there resources made available? Are there Facebook groups that people can join? What are the different approaches parents can take just to have someone to talk to?
I came up with the page, The Warrior Mommy, because I feel this is what we are. We are fighting a war at many ends on a daily basis. That is what I thought of doing. Then there are a lot of, again, stigma. People are not comfortable coming out and talk about it very openly. It's a personal choice. But again, inclusion is the word. Inclusion first is like, I tell you this is autism and you're like, okay, now I know, you know, it's a condition. Hopefully now you know what is autism and, you know, kids do this, there are, you know, symptoms and all, you know. But the second thing is acceptance. Do you accept my child? If he comes here and he's clapping and he's stimming or he's sniffing your hair, will you be okay knowing that he's autistic? And inclusion is accommodating them and, you know, giving them a chance. Very, very rarely I have seen special kids being invited to birthday parties because, you know, they don't fit in. For me, inclusion is a tricky thing, if you ask me to be really brutally honest. I attend events, you know, coffee mornings, special mothers, special parents, therapists, they're sitting and talking about, we can do this, we can do that. I have a very different perspective. I think inclusion, where do you want them to be included? The mainstream society, the normal society. What you have to do is involve them, make them aware instead of talking in the same community over and over again. For example, coffee mornings. What I think is special mothers and the neurotypical mothers, they sit down, they brainstorm, they talk about it. How can we tell our normal kids, okay, if you see a child doing like this, how do we explain it to them that he's different, you know? Things like these to make inclusion practical. I was just talking to somebody and I was like, have you seen or do you know of any child who will go to an autism center or autism organization's page on Insta and see, okay, it's 2nd April and, you know, he will read about it? I don't think so, because it's, you know, they're kids and they're teenagers. They have a different perspective of things. It's boring to them. So what you need to do, and what the media and the parents, you have to be creative when it comes to inclusion. I was just talking to somebody out and I was like, you know, whenever I'm driving, I look at these billboards and I go to malls, I see the screens flashing, and I just wonder, for example, April is popular for autism awareness. Let's, for the month of April, put autism-friendly quotes on these billboards, maybe with a picture of an autistic child. 100%. If not mine, any autistic child. You know, the main purpose is to spread the word. use these screens. Like I was talking to Imar and these big groups, Miras, and I was like, why we can't do that? Why we can't use your screens for a week maybe? Why can't we use Coca-Cola cans or Pepsi cans with autism friendly quotes with a picture of an autistic child? Because everybody loves Coke. So you need to be like really creative to get that attention from the normal world, and
just normalize it.
Yeah, normalize it, and it has to be like really attractive. You are driving on Chick's Eye, then you see a boat. It will catch your eye, maybe for a second, but you will look. And when you come home and you type autism on Google, it's a success. I got your attention there. And when it comes to schools, that is another big platform to spread awareness and acceptance. See, the government has given you an infrastructure that, okay, you have to be inclusive. The schools, like you have to have neurodivergent kids in the classroom. But for me, I think if the rest of the class does not know about that special child in their class, it's not going to be successful. When the schools, the normal schools, they need to have presentations, maybe monthly, maybe quarterly, where they, show autistic kids, this is what they do, this is, how it is. If they're clapping, they need to self-regulate themselves. LSAs, teachers, they need to start working together. Like even on educational platforms, it has to be creative. You tell the kids, they are kids. I mean, they're smart, they're going to learn. And when it comes to parks, I mean, I have been told in my face, can you please take your kids from here? My child pick up some negative behaviors from your child. Initially, my eyes used to well up because it's so emotionally, it takes such a toll on your health. But again, it's a journey. I learned. And now I'm like, no.
Well, what do you say to parents like that?
I tell them very nicely. If people are staring, like I told earlier, I'll just look at them. If they keep staring, I tell them, oh, he's autistic. So that, if they further ask me, I just tell them, this is autism and he's autistic and, this is how he self-regulates. But even then, there's a big chunk of society that is still insensitive to special kids. And then communities, like I live in a community, right? I wrote to them that let's do something in the community, parks, kids, let's do something creative, maybe give them chocolates with a tag behind it. There's such cool ideas. Who doesn't love chocolate? Because I want to target the kids who are like 7 and, then it goes on, +7, under 7, they're still very young. But parents are like, if they see my twin, he stims like this and he'll clap and he'll laugh and he's happy. So I have seen parents will just, push their kids behind them because, they're, I don't know, scared. But it's the insensitivity that we need to work on. But for that, again, the special parents, they have to come out and talk about it.
First thing I want to say, mothers are so special. Like we can see with you, you're tremendous and you're fighting the right fight. Thank you so much for everything that you're doing. You're doing so much for your kids and for all those kids around the world who need someone to speak up on their behalf. It's so beautiful. It brings tears to our eyes.
No, thank you so much for having me. I'm honored. I'm so happy, emotionally overwhelmed because platforms like yours, they need to talk about it because I tell you, kids like mine, mothers like me, they deserve an equal chance to be represented. And thank you so much. I hope you set an example for other people to fall into your shoes and talk about it because it is important. Acceptance.
You're incredible. Your story is as well. Have you seen the movie Wonder, by the way?
Yes. Oh my God, it's beautiful.
It's a beautiful movie and it talks about everyone's struggle with the situation. Like the kid has autism and it shows like the mother's struggle, sisters, the father's. I want to just ask you before we end the show, like for you, what was your biggest struggle coming to terms with this? And also, what is the one message you want to give to parents, in terms of what you've seen and what made you get into advocacy? Like you've seen this behavior with kids or children or parents, and you want to give a message, a strong message to them. So they teach their kids from a young age acceptance, like anything of that sort?
The biggest struggle, I think it's the same with all of us. It's the financial aspect of autism. It's expensive. The therapies, they're mandatory. Our kids need them, most of them, every day of the week, but they are very expensive. Most of the insurances are not covering them because it's a genetic thing. So, it doesn't come and, they have their own reasons. So financial aspect is the biggest struggle for me because I know my twins need a school, they need therapies, but it's expensive. I cannot afford having multiples again. So it's the biggest struggle. And then looking up to the neurotypical world for acceptance, that is another challenge, because I know we're talking about it. Sitting here is another example that things are changing, but it's still a very long road, and hopefully, we'll keep working on it. And a message that I want to give to all the mothers listening to me, minds of all kinds, let's accept them the way they are. Please stop running after cures, my fellow special moms. There's no cure. And to the neurotypical mothers, let's just accept and embrace the different minds, and let's just start telling our typical normal kids that it's okay to have different kids around you. They have all the right to everything around them. Just be kind, be humble, be understanding, accommodating, because it doesn't cost you anything. It's for free.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much.
And where can people follow you on Instagram?
I have this page. It's called The Warrior Mommy, because I think that's all of us are fighting wars on different ends on daily basis. So it's The Warrior Mommy.
You really are. And thank you so much for joining us on the show and just opening up to this extent. It was beautiful speaking with you.
I'm honored. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Guys, that is it from us. We'll be back with you same time, same place tomorrow. Goodbye from me.
Goodbye.